Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And today I want to talk about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is getting its butt kicked. I don't know if you guys have seen, but the Democrats have been losing very big in a lot of these elections that are occurring all around the country. And a lot of people feel that the reason the Democrats are getting their butts kicked is because they started ignoring their black voter base. The Democrats have lost states that they're used to winning. They've almost lost other places that they did actually win. So it's really interesting because what I'm really surprised by is the fact that the Democrats didn't actually have the experts on their team who could see the writing on the wall. Right? They couldn't. They were blinder than Stevie Wonder when it came to really understanding what was coming. Um, I was just sitting here thinking that perhaps I was the crazy one who just who saw something that wasn't real. I thought maybe I was the one that was tripping. That I assume they know more about their party than I do, but obviously that's not true. Everything that happened in these elections is exactly what I expected. Now let me move on before I dig into more of what's going on with the Democrats. I want to say hi to Darlene and Vic and Max Jerome and Oshun. I am. What's up, MD? Ready? How are you? I am. I'm up early, recovering from the convention. I don't know if any of y'all, how many of y'all came to the All Black National Convention, but if you didn't come, I hope you'll consider it for next year. It was so much fun, and we had some really great people there. You know, like my brother Rizza Islam and Queen Afua, and there were some brilliant young black folks. Like this brother. This brother wrote a. He's 25 years old. He drove all the way with his wife to the convention. His 23-year-old wife. And when they got there, he showed this book. He wrote a massively large book called "100 Years of Anti-Black Policing." I believe that that's what it says on the cover. And we didn't just learn a lot. We also had a lot of fun. We had a space tournament, and this sister came dressed up because it was Halloween, and she had this needle in her head, and basically she said she was the jab. She said, she actually used the other word, the V word, but I'm not going to use it online. But she literally showed up dressed as the jab, which I thought was the funniest thing in the world. And that's me playing spades, and I was really, really mad because me and my team, we got our ass kicked. But yeah, you guys should come to the next convention. It's so much fun. I don't know how many of you came out there, but it was totally sold out, and just a blast. But anyway, and by the way, if you actually want to get tickets for next year to lock in your spot at a 50% discount, you can actually go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We'd like for you to bring your family, bring groups, and just take a look. It was, anybody that was there will tell you that it was absolutely epic. I guarantee it. And it was black owned, and we financed this ourselves. No Democrat, Republican nonsense. This wasn't sponsored by some corporation. This was black people that really, did it and got it done in a beautiful way. So anyway, let me keep going. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. So in case you don't know, the Democrats are getting their ass kicked in so many different ways, and it's quite interesting to watch because the Democrats they kind of earned it. I mean they have been so disrespectful to the black community. It's ridiculous. And my thought is that if you are dissing black people in that way, you obviously must have a plan B. You must have a plan B. Because if you disrespected me, I don't know about y'all, but if you disrespect me, you ain't getting my vote. I'm sorry, Master Biden. I know these people love you and they want to be your friend. I don't want to be your damn friend. I don't want to be your friend. I truly care nothing about being buddies with Joe Biden. And the thing about it is that if you disrespect me, then I'm not gonna give you what you want from me. I'm always gonna respect people, right? I'm not a I try to I don't like being a disrespectful person. But when you go back to Biden saying crazy stuff like if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, or when black people were looking for these individuals to engage the intellectual leaders of our community, and all they wanted to do was talk to Cardi B. Anybody remember that? Give me a yes or no if you remember that infamous Cardi B interview where he could have talked to a lot of even if he was to talk to a rapper, there are a lot of intelligent rappers who would have represented the community. He wouldn't talk to Ice Cube, but he talked to Cardi B all day, right? You go deeper than that, right? You've got this whole crazy situation where they're paying $450,000 or trying to pay damn near $500,000 to immigrant families, illegal immigrant families, not just immigrant, illegal people that don't even live here. But they won't even do that for black folks. That's crazy. I mean, and I know I hope anybody I hope there's nobody who thinks that statement's anti-immigrant. That's not an anti-immigrant statement. You if you are an immigrant and you have a problem with what I said, I want you to go to your home country and ask them. If I try to break into your country illegally and then they detain me and they inconvenience me, they separate me from my child, would they pay me $500,000? Would they pay me even 100,000? Would they pay me 50,000? I mean, what the hell's wrong with you, man? Y'all smoking crack. These people are crazy. Seriously, these people they're out of their damn mind. And then you go deeper, right? Black folks been asking for reparations since forever. They won't even say the word reparations. They haven't even said it. Like I think that they just got cocky. I think that they really think that they just, have black people in their pocket no matter what. They think that we're stupid, and the truth is that they're not completely incorrect. They're not completely incorrect because we got stupid people in our community. We have liars in our community. We have double agents in our community. We got some stupid ass people that will literally support them no matter what. All you gotta do is bring up a big scary Republican. Republicans are gonna come get you. Right? And they did that, right? They did that. Let me just say a little Jedi mind trick. Here's the deal. You know, I know that the Democrats have a whole bag of tricks that they use. These Negro mind tricks that they use in order to control black people. I know that they have a long history of using fear, particularly fear, to get black folks to do what they want us to do. And black people like myself, I don't fall for any of that. But then again, I'm a college professor, so I'm supposed to be a little bit smarter. But Democrats had one weapon in the last few elections, and this is something they can't use anymore. And their number one weapon, you know what their number one weapon was to control black people? This guy. This guy. Tell me if you noticed how often in the last election, when black people showed up and said, we want reparations, they would ignore that, but then they say, no, but we just got to get Trump out of office. We got to get Trump out of office. Trump, those darn Trump supporters, they're terrible people. They're those Trump supporters, right? So by basically focusing on Donald Trump, the Democrats were able to ignore every relevant issue in the black community. They were able to completely ignore your whole community because they were basically getting everything focused on getting Trump out of office, and they were using fear as a pretty impactful tactic to get you to not pay attention to the things you actually needed, and that's based in psychology theory. That's based on and a lot of psychological theory says that when you are afraid, when I make you fearful, what happens is that you start operating on a different frequency. You start operating on a lower baseline survivor frequency. Like imagine if you're about to go to the mall and you're about to go buy a fancy new outfit and maybe a new car, right? But then suddenly somebody says, there's a shooter in the mall and your children are there and you got to protect your children. Well, you're not going to be thinking about buying a new car anymore. You're going to be thinking about keeping your kids safe. Right? You're not thinking about going and buying a fancy new suit. That don't matter to you anymore. You're worried about getting your family home and to security. Right? So you're gonna pretty much do whatever the police say because you don't want your kids to die because you're out trying to chase, material items, right? Well, the same thing is true in an election. So black folks show up in every election and we say, we want reparations. We want you to stop, telling our kids about their sexuality when they're 3, 4 years old, which is right there. That's some weird, freaky shit. I'm sorry. That's very weird that you want to talk about sex and children when they're in preschool. Like, I just don't get that. Right. Um, you know, and so when you're fighting for these higher level needs, like, look, we want our families together. We want our kids educated. We want capital for black owned businesses so we can create our own jobs. Right. So you show up with a whole agenda, but then they say, Trump is coming. Trump's gonna kill you all. The Trump supporters. The Proud Boys. The Proud Boys gonna kill everybody. They're gonna kill every black person. Now, mind you, to this day, I don't know of a single black person anywhere. We have a country of 330 million people. I assume that you could find me at least 20. Find me. How about this? Find me 100 black people. 100 black people that were killed by Proud Boy in the last 2 years? Can you name? Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no in the chat. Can you name 100? Do you think you can name 100 black people who were killed by either Proud Boys or Trump supporters or anything? Even police. I don't even know if police have killed 100 unarmed black men in the last 2 years. Seriously. I'm not trying to say these things. These are wonderful people. I'm not defending these people, but I'm saying this is part of the mind trick. If I get you, it's a weapon of mass distraction. That's what you call a weapon of mass distraction. It is, if I get you distracted, then you're not going to ask for what you deserve. You're going to ask for what you need in order to survive. I distract you with fear. Fear is the best and ultimate distraction. So the Democratic Party used this guy. They love Donald Trump. They claim they hate him, but they don't hate him. They love him. They love him the way the Joker loves Batman, or Batman loves the Joker, right? They need each other. So now Trump is gone. The Joker is out of town. Now people are looking at Batman and saying, what are you doing besides fighting the Joker? And they have no answer. The Emperor has no clothes. But while I bet you every nickel in my bank account that none of y'all can tell me about 100 black people that were killed by the Proud Boys. Let me tell you a place where black people did die. Did y'all know that 200 rappers died last year? I put this on my Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. Follow me on Instagram if you like intelligent conversations. I put this up on my Instagram. 200 rappers died last year. How many of y'all knew that? Give me a yes or no. I saw a video about this when I was on my way. I was at the All Black National Convention and I was getting dressed and my wife was in the other room. And I said, babe, did you know 200 rappers died last year? And in the video, they literally played music clips of all 200 rappers that died. And most of them died from the stuff that's being promoted by major corporations like Apple and Spotify. So they're literally promoting death in your community and killing your children on a regular basis. If 200 rappers died, that means thousands of young people died who are not famous. Because y'all know they're rappers. The reason corporations pay rappers lots of money to influence your children to go pop mollies and Percocets and to kill each other and to do stupid things. When they do that, that it's affecting the minds of millions of our children. So these corporations are murdering your kids right there in your damn backyard, and you can't even see it because you focus on this guy. You focus on, oh, you're a Trump supporter. I hear black people say, oh, those racist Trump supporters. There's racist Trump supporters at my job. I don't give a shit. I know people that voted for Trump who are perfectly fine people. Seriously. I mean, I'm sorry if you want me to make fun of somebody for being a Trump supporter, then I'll also make fun of somebody else for being a Biden supporter, because you look equally silly. Seriously. I mean, if a Trump supporters look silly, then Biden supporters look just as silly. And honestly, I'm not even sure which one looks sillier, because I'm gonna tell you like this: these people, these crazy shit. Oops. Sorry, guys. I almost dropped my device. Um, these people are so weird that they tell you just stuff that don't make no sense at all. Well, sometimes a boy feels like being a girl, so the boy should be allowed to go and play. He should be able to change himself into a girl and then a year later go play women's sports like boxing, like female cage fighting, where he can. But did y'all hear about that? There was literally a lady who decided she wanted to be a woman, and or a guy who decided, I don't know the right terminology, but this dude who became a lady went into cage fighting and beat another woman so bad that he almost crushed her skull. I can't remember the lady's name. Joe Rogan talked about it. Shout out to Joe Rogan. Shout out to the people that still have common sense, because these people ain't got no common sense. You have lost touch with millions of people. You've lost touch with the American people. You really have, because you not only are you coming up with all these weird ideas that nobody can relate to, that most people cannot relate to, that are very anti-family, but you're pissing on black people. Black people are not, black children are not being educated. They're going to school, they're graduating, they can't even read. But you expect me to be comfortable because my child's going to a shitty school that's run by a Democrat. Man, they can kiss my entire black ass. I don't care who you are. If you are ruining my children, you are not my friend. In fact, give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. How many do you feel that the districts run by Democrats are improving the lives of black people? Give me a yes or no. Do you think the schools run by Democrats are making our children better? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that the economic condition of black people under Democrats is better? Give me a yes or no. Because I can tell you, if you say yes, I'm gonna challenge you on that because I got a whole lot of data that says the opposite. There's a ton of data that says that since not the 1968 civil rights marches and all that stuff, the stuff they tell you to celebrate in school, we shall overcome, all that. There's a lot of evidence to say that black people have gone backward economically since that time. And that's, if you want to know why this weekend we were doing the All Black National Convention, that's why. Because we were in that space and we were solving problems. We brought together 60 of the best and brightest black people in our community, and it was nothing but love in the building. That's why everybody talks about the convention, because there was black love, which I think is incredibly powerful. There was a lot of just positive energy. There was a lot of intelligence. There was a lot of problem solving when it comes to health. There was a lot of problem solving when it came to our relationships with each other. There was a lot of problem solving when it came to our wealth. We had crypto experts in there. I mean, in fact, actually, I'll show you guys something. There was one of our crypto experts, Jamar Dot Montgomery. I walked into one of the crypto sessions at the convention, and I was trying to look for cryptos I wanted to invest in that were that were that would help me make money off of the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg decided he wants to do this whole metaverse thing. And I was like, okay, so this is going to be big. What cryptos make money off the metaverse? So he happened to mention two cryptos, and feel free to write this down. One is called Engine Coin. The other is called Polka Dot and Engine Coin. So what I do is, when I hear a solution, like, I'm not good at sitting around whining about how hard it is to be black. You're only going to have my attention for about 30 seconds if you do that, because I've heard that song 85,000 times on the radio. But when you give me a solution, I'm paying attention. You give me a solution, I'm listening. So he basically, mentioned Engine Coin and Polkadot. So I immediately implemented the solution. I bought a little bit of Engine and Polkadot, and I was super excited because Engine like took off. Like, it went up like 20% the next day. And so I literally had more money in my bank account because this brother made this recommendation. And that's the kind of stuff. I mean, that's just one tiny example. That's not, everything, the be all end all, right? Our problems go deeper than just wealth, right? Our problems go into things like how we relate to each other. What is our physical health? These Democrats have been promoting these jabs. That's another thing people are sick of. They sick of you telling them what to do. People are sick of mandates. They're like, look, people understand why you might make your choice and why your choice is your choice. But people are sick and tired of you running around here engaged in what is a very deliberate, very clear social engineering campaign and manipulating people and forcing them to do what you're doing. Who the hell are you? Are you my daddy? You are not my daddy. You told me last year, pay attention now, listen now. A year ago, they were telling y'all that once they come up with that jab, once they get done, once Moderna and Pfizer and all those companies get done making their little product, everybody's going to go get it, or whoever got it was going to get it, and everything's going to be fine. That those people will be safe and pure and happy and living the good life. Well, here we are a year later. Now the whole narrative has changed. The whole narrative has changed. Now it went from, well, you'll be completely safe to, well, you're not totally safe to, and then it went from, well, you can't pass, at least these people can't pass it to anybody else. Oh, well, actually, we just found out that they can. The narrative keeps changing, right? And so here's the deal, right? So you got black folks who, from the Henrietta Lacks tradition. Y'all know Henrietta Lacks, where the medical system screwed her and her family to the tune of billions of dollars. John Hopkins University is sitting on billions of dollars that they made from Henrietta Lacks, and pharmaceutical companies are, right? You have black folks that remember the Tuskegee experiment. You have black folks that remember all of that, who are like, no, thank you. I will figure out a better way for me and my family to fight this virus that has a 99.8% survival rate. 99.8% of all people are going to survive this. All these celebrities, I talked to Angela Stanton last night, Angela Stanton is a real strong black woman. You should check her out. She's a very interesting person. Has a lot of hugely diverse background in terms of being very direct about a lot of issues. And one thing she mentioned that I thought was really interesting was she said, in the beginning, when all this pandemic stuff started, you had celebrities that would catch the virus and they would just go quarantine for a couple of weeks and they were fine. Like none of them died. None of them, ended up, she said, I thought everybody's going to die. She said, but celebrity Tom Hanks got it. And then Idris Elba got it. And all these people got it. And then they quarantined for 2 weeks and they were okay. The Rock and his whole family got it. Right. So here's the deal, right? People are just sick of the BS, man. Look, here's the play. The play is very basic. Stevie Wonder can see this play. Stevie Wonder can see this. Your play is that Big Pharma is stepping in. Big Pharma is again, Big Pharma is like the white people's version of Big Worm. Anybody remember Big Worm from Friday? So so the play by Big Worm, I mean Big Pharma, is that basically they are stepping out here and they saw an opportunity. They saw an opportunity to make money because people were afraid. And they had the best product in the world because the product was backed by a government mandate. And that government mandate meant everybody had to buy their damn product. Everybody had to buy their damn product. So Big Worm steps in the game. Big Worm's like, you mess with my money, you mess with my emotions, Smokey. So Big Worm shows up and says, okay, we're gonna Moderna was an economic scrub before the pandemic. Moderna was literally like your raggedy dusty cousin with ashy knees who was borrowing like $1.50 so he could buy half a Pepsi. Like that's what Moderna was before the pandemic. Moderna was losing money. Moderna was going out of business. Moderna was not a strong company. Pandemic comes, and I'm not kidding. Pandemic comes. I'm not making this up. The pandemic comes. Moderna is literally on its way to becoming $1 trillion company. Did y'all know that? Moderna is like literally on its way to becoming $1 trillion company. In fact, I'm gonna show you a screenshot of Moderna stock and what happened with Moderna stock. And part of me is that honestly, I'm not totally mad about it because my investment advisor bought me some Moderna stock. He recommended Moderna, and I wasn't really paying much attention, And I said, sure, I don't care, I'll buy some. And that stock literally went up like 7 or 8 fold. And so they literally said Moderna could end up becoming $1 trillion pharmaceutical company because after they promoted the first jab, now they got the boosters and the pills and all these other things that are basically designed to manage your fear. That's it. They're just designed to manage your fear. So that's what it is. There's a graphic of Moderna stock. I mean, look at that. Look at that. It's gone up 1,774.41% in the last 5 years. If you had bought a bunch of Moderna stock a few years ago, you'd be rich right now. You'd be crazy paid if you spent as much money on Moderna stock as some of us spend, going out to eat and buying Gucci and going on trips or new car notes, if whatever it is that we spend money on, and you put a fraction of that into Moderna stock, it would have made you very rich. So here's my point. The Democratic Party got body slammed in these recent elections largely because they are allowing big pharma to financially rape the entire U.S. populace. They have allowed big worm to come in and scrape up all the money, and they're backing them up with these mandates, no differently from the way weapons manufacturers make all the money whenever we declare war on another country. The difference is that instead of declaring war on a country, they declared war on a virus. And they also declared war on the American people. But whenever there's war and government mandates, corporations get rich. That's why your country sent these poor souls over to Afghanistan for 20 damn years and spent $2 trillion and didn't win a goddamn thing. They didn't win nothing because they didn't feel like they had to win nothing. They just wanted to create activity. They created an economy around war. And in this particular case with this virus, they've created an entire economy around war with a virus, and which became war with the American people. And I'm going to just say, I'm going to go on a limb and just tell you guys, look, I'm super proud of you for fighting in that war. And the thing about your government that's really interesting is that whenever they declare war on other countries or whenever they declare war on a foreign entity, The reason you should be very skeptical and careful of that is because it's only a matter of time before they turn those same weapons on you. It's only a matter of time before they turn those same weapons that they claim were for a foreign enemy against you. Remember, when 9/11 happened, everybody remember? Okay, so 9/11 happened. Remember, they passed the Patriot Act, and they gave the government all this power to fight this war on terror, right? Back then it was a war on terror, right? Which became a war in Afghanistan. Now it's a war on the virus. It's war, war, war. War is always profitable. So they tell you, oh, we got a war on terror. You got to let us do what we got to do. Pass every law that we asked you to pass, and people went right along with it. There were some people who were big enough, smart enough to see the big picture who didn't support it, but most people did. So now those very same laws that they passed right after 9/11, all those security acts and homeland security crap and all that, they're using that to spy on and to go after Americans. That's what they do, right? So the same thing is true in this case with this whole thing with the virus. First, it's like we're going to keep you safe, we're protecting you, we're going to help you. Now, if you notice, I mean, look in the media, you're seeing thousands of people losing their jobs now because because they're choosing not to get this shot. They're choosing not to help make Moderna rich, right? This is not about them caring about you. This is not about your health. This is about control and power. And it goes deeper than just that. You can name a whole bunch of functional areas where the Democrats, in their quest for control and power, in their quest for social engineering, in their quest to control what you're allowed to even talk about, are imposing power in unhealthy and unethical ways. And that's why they're getting their ass kicked in these elections, because people are revolting against the nonsense. Let me keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. I'm gonna read something to you guys about what's happening with these elections. It's really really fascinating to observe, um, and honestly, it makes me very happy. I love seeing them get their butts kicked, particularly since not because I love the Republicans. I mean, I don't give a damn about any of these politicians, but because I really, really kind of want them to understand that if you don't do right by black people, when there are black people that are never going to support you, and who knows, maybe they can win the vote back. I have no idea. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you that that if you're not, if I hear a lot of people who say I used to be a Democrat. Maj Toure was on a panel this weekend he runs Black Guns Matter, and Maj Toure was on a panel at the All Black National Convention, and I specifically remember Maj saying something like, "I used to be a Democrat." And there were a lot of people who would say that. How many of you felt that way? How many of you used to be Democrats, but you're not Democrats anymore? Say yes in the chat if you used to be a Democrat, but you're not a Democrat anymore. Now, remember, Malcolm X used to warn you guys about the liberals. If you go to my YouTube channel, drboystv.com, you'll see where Malcolm X is basically talking about how liberal puppets, particularly in the black community, have been used for many, many years. I mean, so this is not new. It's what's extraordinary to me and profound is how they've been able to use this same playbook on your monkey ass for the last like 60 years. Like, that's what's hilarious to me, that Malcolm X can give a speech in 1964 and it literally sounds like he gave the speech last week. How backward does a people have to be? Does any group of people have to be in order for a man to give a speech in 1964, 63, 62, 61, and for that speech to be relevant 50 years later? When are we going to understand that Malcolm would want us to move forward? Malcolm would probably be heartbroken to find out that the things that they were fighting against 50 years ago, 60 years ago, I'm sorry, wait, I did the math wrong. Make that 60 years ago, are still the things that are crippling the minds of black people today. Dr. Claude Anderson, he spoke at the convention this weekend, and one of the things that Dr. Anderson said is that black folks need to have their own political party, and that's something that actually we are working on right now. Black people need to have our own voting block, where basically we just say, look, if you don't bring tangible benefits to black people, you will not get our vote. And so he did endorse me to be a leader in this party. I admit I was reluctant because I don't like politics, to be honest with you. But in this particular case, I would do something like that. But just know I'll never run for office. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be a part of any of that nonsense. but I will support the idea of Black people having independent voting power. I that I will support, and I'll be happy to be a part of that. So I'll keep you guys posted on what we do with that. So let me read a little bit of this article. I was reading in the Associated Press, and it says Glenn Youngkin won the Virginia's governor race early Wednesday, tapping into culture war fights over schools and race to unite former President Donald Trump's most fervent supporters, etc. The 54-year-old Youngkin's defeat of Democrat Terry McAuliffe marked a sharp turnabout in the state that has shifted to the left over the past decade, in which President Joe Biden captured by 10 points in 2020. And as the party felt the sting of that loss, Democratic Governor Phil Murphy from New Jersey was virtually deadlocked in his bid to win re-election in a state that Biden won by 15 points. The elections were the first major test of voter sentiment since Biden took office and suggest growing frustration. They also underscored that with Trump out of office, Democrats can't center their messages on opposition to him. The results ultimately pointed to a potentially painful year ahead for Democrats as they try to maintain thin majorities in Congress. So the Republicans are celebrating right now because they were able to basically take advantage of the fact that the Democratic Party has lost any sort of commitment to common sense. Regular people are just, sick of the nonsense. We're sick of, you trying to convince us that our little boys really need to become little girls and whatever bullshit that you're talking about instead of actually talking about the things that matter. Seriously, you're talking about things that are literally like sort of side issues. I mean, don't get me wrong. If a boy wants to become a girl, I'm the last guy to stop him. I really am not ever going to go to your doctor's office and forbid you from getting that surgery. I just truly give zero shits about any of that. Well, I wish you the very best. But when Black people show up and they say, why is it that 100,000 Black children graduate from school every year in Democratic run districts and they can't read? And the first thing you start talking about is how your 7-year-old son might really want to be a girl, or he might really want to kiss a boy. I'm going to be like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, that's literally not even what I asked you about. I asked you about education. You start talking about sex. Something's wrong with you, man. Something's wrong with you people. Something is weird and freaky in that party. I don't get it. I mean, I'm gonna tell you all the truth. I'm just really speaking a little loosely here on some of this, but let me just tell you, when I'm pretty good at connecting dots, and but not in a complete conspiracy theory kind of way. I connect dots in the sense that I try not to think like the internet, because the internet has a problem. The internet kind of like the internet sort of forgets things, right? The internet kind of just something will happen and you'll talk about it for like a week, and then you'll like move on to something new. And I don't really do that, right? Like I will look at what's happening now and I'll connect it to something that happened like 3 years ago that everybody forgot about, right? So when I think about the Democratic Party and their weird obsession with your child's sexuality, you know what I think about? I think about stuff like this. Can anybody tell me who their brother is in the middle of that picture, and point particularly to the brother in the very middle? Somebody say his name in the chat. Not the guy on the right, not the guy on the left, the guy in the middle. Who is that brother on the screen? Somebody put the name in the chat. Yes, that is Mr. Andrew Gillum. Now, if you recall, Andrew Gillum was a superstar in the Democratic Party, right? Andrew Gillum was this guy was such a badass in politics. Like, this brother was on his way to possibly becoming a presidential candidate. I mean, he was what I would call he's what I call a baby Obama. Where the baby Obamas are all this sort of crop of mostly black politicians who arose after the sudden emergence of Barack Obama, and and they ended up getting all these opportunities because everybody felt like Obama sort of represented the formula, right? Like, he was, okay, this is what we have to do to win elections, right? So we got to find all the baby Obamas out here, and the baby Obamas are gonna, like, bring us back as a community. So, or bring us back as a party that's going to help us win elections or whatever, right? So they would even like dress like Obama, like, like they would they had, he had a wife that looked a little bit like Michelle, kind of, beautiful dark skinned sister. He was able to give really charismatic speeches. He would even wear like ties and clothes that would that would sort of remarkably similar to Barack Obama. Well, the interesting thing about it was, like, obviously Andrew, behind the scenes, and I'm not making fun of this brother at all. I promise you, I really don't care about a person's sexuality, but obviously behind the scenes, this baby Obama, he had a whole nother life, right? So it all kind of culminated with this crazy scandal where the poor guy got caught in this really compromising situation that was so disgusting that I'm not even gonna repeat it. It involved like blood and semen and pills and vomit, and I don't even want to talk about it, right? I mean, my heart goes out to his family because that's got to be painful to deal with. And here's the thing. Here's what I am, right? I'm an extrapolator, right? Extrapolation means that, when you see, it's like if you go in your house and you see a roach, only an idiot sees a roach and says, "Damn, we got one roach in our house." Right? So you see one roach, you stamp. Pay attention now. You see the one roach, you stamp out the roach, but only an idiot would say, "Hey, babe, we had a roach problem. There was one roach in the house, and we killed the one roach. Now we have no more roaches anywhere in the house." Right? That's dumb, right? No, a smart person says, "Damn, I saw one roach. I bet you there's a nest of roaches." Right? Or I saw a couple flies, and I see a fly every day, and there's got to be a place where these flies are coming from, right? So when I saw, some call it Bussy Gate. That's what Dora says. I think that's so funny. When I saw what happened with your boy Andrew Gillum, um, by the way, brother man says he can't hear me. Give me a yes if you can still hear me. Let me know if you can still hear me, because I'm a little bit paranoid if you can't hear me anymore. Give me a yes if you can't hear me. Um, so somebody called it Bussy Gate, which I think is quite funny. But you know, so when I see one incident, I don't see it as like, oh, this is just one guy. He was abnormal. I I see it as, okay, this is y'all let a little bit of the cat out of the bag. Y'all let one of the roaches climb out of the, well, I would call him a roach. I don't want to say that because I am not comparing him to anything like that. That would be disrespectful. I don't want to say it like that. That is one person that is a symptom of a larger systematic phenomenon in the Democratic Party. Do you understand what I'm saying? That, remember, when Obama got elected, before Obama got elected, a lot of this talk about gender and sexuality wasn't really happening. It was kind of to each his own, and people did what they did, and of course there was gay rights, and you respect all that, right? I mean, that's totally cool. Like, I don't care. Live your life, man. I respect you. But when Obama got elected, y'all thought y'all were getting a black president, and you kind of were getting a black president, but typically the black president, you know, comes everything's a Trojan horse in politics. And so basically, you weren't just getting a black president, you were getting a 2-for-1. You were getting like your first gay president. And I'm not saying that to be facetious. I'm not making that up. I'm literally talking about real life, like statements that actually occurred. I don't know if y'all remember. Do y'all remember when Newsweek and the New Yorker and other places literally talked about how Obama, put the rainbow colors on the White House, and then Newsweek actually went as far as naming him the first gay president. Do you remember that? Like, there's the headline right there, right? So when I'm looking at these at politicians, I kind of like to. I don't want to be a politician, but I watch how they operate because I don't like to. I don't want to fall for the rope a dope. So I said, okay, I get this. You're giving me my first gay, excuse me, first black president, but really you're giving me another agenda that I have to connect to in order to get the thing I want. And that's how politics works, right? Like, they'll pass a bill and they'll say this is a transportation bill, right? But in the transportation bill, they'll put something in there about, like, you know, building a military base, or some guy in Alabama will get, pig farm subsidies or something. You'd be like, what the fuck does that have to do with transportation? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? That's what they do. They package things in a Trojan horse kind of capacity, where if you accept the first thing, then if you want the first thing, then you got to go with the second, third, and fourth thing. Right? Now, I'm not speculating on Mr. Obama's Sexuality. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm not here to. In fact, I don't care. I'm not speculating on it because I don't care. I really don't care. Have y'all? I'm sure we got some freaks right here in the chat that do all kinds of weird shit in the bedroom. So I'm not judging what people do in the bedroom. The point I'm making, and I hope we can operate on this frequency. I don't want to get into the petty frequency. The petty frequency is figuring out whether where a man is putting his penis. I have no concerns about where a man is putting his penis, unless he is trying to put it in me, or put it in my woman, or put it in one of my children. Then at that point, your business becomes my business. But outside of that, man, do what you do, live your life. I have fun, enjoy yourself. But the point here is that if you recall, it was back in 2008 when all this other sexuality talk started to transcend the more important issues that matter in our community. The number one issue for black kids going to school, I hope you can agree with me, is that they're not fucking learning how to read. Are you kidding me right now? Like kids can't read, but they learning all the pronouns of LGBT. Seriously, that's not education. That's indoctrination. They're socializing you. That's cultural imperialism. And so to circle back, because y'all know what I am. Y'all know how I like to dig into everything. I like connecting all the dots. So if you want to understand why the Democrats are pissed, why they just got their asses handed to them in these last set of elections, it's because people are just sick of the nonsense. People are sick of you talking about, you know, what gender my son wants to be or who he wants to put his penis in. Stop talking about my son's penis. That's between him. That's between him and his penis. That's family business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. People are sick of you ignoring things like reparations. Black people have been calling for reparations since forever. These sons of bitches won't even say the word reparations. Barack Obama, your little buddy, the first gay president, according to Newsweek. That's what they call him, the first gay president. Barack Obama, when he was asked by Dr. Julianne Malveaux, bless her heart, about reparations, he got livid. He got angry. He said, "Who set this interview up? Who let this lady in?" Whatever the hell he said, right? He ended the interview immediately when there was a point made about what he was going to do for black people. When Kamala Harris was asked, does anybody remember? Give me a yes or no if you remember. Kamala Harris, Miss Skiwi and whatever, right? Like the Howard University graduate who has not said a single word about the fact that Howard University students right now are living in tent cities in front of the administration building. Like seriously, I mean, if you want to talk about reputational damage to Howard, I mean, let me just tell you, our daughter used to say she wanted to go to Howard. Like she said that like Howard was at the top of her list. And me and her mama said, ain't no fucking way you going to Howard. Because I swear, if I'm paying 50 grand a year and you living in a tent city, because you don't want to live in a dorm that's got mushrooms growing out of the ceiling because of mold problems, I'm gonna walk up in there and I'm gonna get to whooping ass. Like I'm gonna be on the 6 o'clock news because I'm gonna go in that president's office and give him a piece of my. We gonna have a problem. You ain't gonna have my baby out here sleeping in a damn tent. What the hell's wrong with you? Seriously, So no, my our child will not be going to Howard. Some of y'all are Howard graduates, and I love how I love the graduates. I really do, but I don't like the administration. So Kamala Harris, if you recall, they asked Kamala on the griot, what are you going to do for black people? She was very clear. She said, I ain't doing nothing for black people. She said, I'm not doing nothing solely for black people. Right. And I'm sure her white husband would agree. Doug. So here's my point. Here's my point. I'm not here to make fun of Kamala Harris's husband, although I do find it just fascinating that you are a black woman who attended an HBCU and met thousands of really intelligent black men, but you married Doug. Doug is not better than all the black men that you met in your life. But then again, that's me speculating here. Um, the Democrats are full of crap. I mean, that's basically what it is. You know, you're not getting any funding to black-owned businesses. I know black business owners who have. How many of you? Give me a yes or no. How many of you know black business owners who have great businesses where if they could get somebody to loan them maybe $250,000, they could shoot that sucker off the ground? How many of y'all know black business owners like that? Got great ideas, great products, and barely making it by because they go to banks, they go to Bank of America, they go to Chase Bank, and these banks won't even loan them the money they need to get going. Like literally loaning them $250,000 could change their life. It could liberate them from the corporate plantation. They could provide for their families. They could create jobs for black people. Like seriously, and they can't get any support for these politicians. But every time you show up asking for something real, they give you something that is unreal. Every time you ask for something that's relevant, they offer you something that's irrelevant. Every time you ask them for something that has substance, they give you something that represents symbolism. So the Democrats are getting body slammed in these elections because you're ignoring black people. You've lost touch with the American people in general. Black people are not the only ones who are frustrated with what the Democrats are doing. You got a lot of white folks who are mad about it too. And I think they deserve every single thing they're getting. And I'm just going to tell you the truth. If you want to know my 2 cents on the issue, you could tell me that Donald Trump and the Trump supporters are coming tomorrow to murder me and my whole family, and I'm still not voting for the Democrats. You could try every scare tactic that you want. Anything you say, boys, Lord, we got to get this person out of office, or they're going to make everybody go back to slavery and they're going to be in chains. I do not care. I do not care. I do not vote for ignorance. I do not vote against my own interests. I do not support people that don't support me. It's a basic concept. It's simple reciprocity, man. Why is that such a complicated idea? For our people. I'm not telling you to be a Republican or a Democrat. I don't care what party you pick. But I mean, God damn it, man. Have some damn self-esteem. I mean, really let them scare you into like doing this stuff and promise you nothing. Like promise you absolutely nothing. So we are our own biggest enemy. It's not, the white man and white supremacy, that's not really the boogeyman in the room when it comes to what's holding black people back. It's black ignorance and black fear and a sheep mentality. And you got sheep herders out here, the Al Sharptons of the world, who are designed to simply emotionally manipulate you to get you to keep supporting a big bowl of nothingness. And I don't have to prove this to you. All you have to do is look at the data. All you have to do is look at where, black people have gone in terms of income, family structure, education, etc. And so if you want me to define the Democratic Party, here's how I would sum it up. They are obvious. They are completely against the building of wealth in the black community. They are not supportive of the building of wealth in the black community. Like if they had it their way, that black people would just have a whole bunch of minimum wage jobs and be making white people rich. Like seriously, like literally, they never talk about wealth. They typically talk about jobs, right? And in America, America's a society where people who have jobs don't win. That's just how it's built. So our whole platform is more built on things like wealth. Like there was a young brother at the convention who was running a business. We had lots of children at the convention this year, the All Black National Convention, that were running businesses. So we want our children to be wealthy. So we talked to them about being business owners. Not that everybody has to be an entrepreneur, but everybody can be a business owner because entrepreneurs and business owners are not always the same. So that's one thing. The Democratic Party is anti-black wealth. Also, the Democratic Party is anti-black education. Basically, your educational system, your educational process is nothing more than an indoctrination process into white liberal ideologies, white liberal values. It's that's what it is. It is a hypnotizing process. It is a cult process. It is basically designed to get you to be as much of a Negro peon as it can possibly make you into. That's why, for example, if I go on YouTube right now, I've become fascinated by this lately. This is my new strand of YouTube videos I've been kind of checking out. You've got these lots of these YouTube channels being created by black people who went to Ivy League schools. And they talk about how hard it was to be black at Yale, and I was black at Princeton, and this is what happened to me. And they talk about things like microaggressions, or somebody, a professor asking her like, "How do you get your hair so curly?" Or another professor confused me for the other black guy across the room, and it hurt my feelings. Or when I applied for the job at Goldman Sachs, and I was a Harvard grad, I didn't get the job, even though Chad got a better position than me, right? They talk about, typical things, right? This is Negro complaining. Like, this is what we have always done, right? It's just an Ivy League version of that, right? So they sound much more articulate when they complain, but they're complaining about the same shit that people in the hood might complain about, right? Like, basically, white people control my life, and there's nothing I can do about it except sit on YouTube and bitch. right? I am an advocate for a different model, right? And because the thing is, what I see, again, remember, I've been a college professor for almost 30 years now. What I see when you've got the complaining educated Negro, the educated Negro complainer versus the uneducated Negro complainer, I kind of see the same phenomenon happening. What you're basically saying is that I believe what I and falsely, by the way, I believe that integration is my pathway to success. That if I can just simply get white people to understand how mean they are and how they hurt my feelings, that one day they're going to wake up and become nice to me and give me everything I deserve. So I'm going to complain on YouTube and march and protest and whatever your method is until they finally accept me. And I wish you well on that quest, but I don't think that's the solution. I don't think that's going to get you anywhere. Right. And the thing is that you've been tricked. You think that you're highly educated, which to some extent you might be, but you've really, for every ounce of education you get 2 ounces of indoctrination, right? So you're not just educated, you're indoctrinated. So you ate the healthy food. Like you went to the store and you ate a salad, right? Or you went to a restaurant and ate a salad because you realized the salad's healthy for you, but they put cyanide in your motherfucking salad. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does anybody get my analogy? Right? So you ate the salad and you've been eating salads every single day. And you say, I'm healthy because I've been eating salad. But you don't understand. They put chemicals in your salad that have side effects that you're not aware of. So a lot of education, as it becomes a form of indoctrination, is really a form of intellectual poison, but you think that the poison is health food, right? And that kind of fits into, that fits into a lot of methods that they're used. The Trojan horse method. Again, I explained how the Democrats will do that. They'll give you this wonderful, amazing black candidate, but then they'll attach some things to that person that maybe you don't agree with, but you go along with it because you're happy that a black person got the job, right? With education or big pharma, they say, here, take this pill or take this jab, and you're taking it because you're afraid, and they're giving you something that you think is good, but then they're also including these other things that they don't necessarily talk about, right? Well, the same thing is true with education. Some of you have been poisoned, and so as a result of that, black people haven't progressed. I mean, we have more educated Negroes than we've ever had. Seriously, we got. There's thousands of black people out here that went to Harvard and Yale and got MBAs and master's degrees and PhDs. And well, think about that. I mean, wouldn't you expect that with all those educated Negroes that at some point you wouldn't have to sit around complaining all day? I mean, shit, you went to Harvard, man. Why are you still acting like you're oppressed? Like you act like Pookie just got out of jail, and you just graduated from Yale University and got $150,000 a year job. You're supposed to be winning, but you're not winning. You're not winning. The reason you're not winning is because you're not free, and the reason you can't get free is because you don't even understand the cage that's built around you is an invisible cage. So every time you try to walk 5 feet to the left, you keep bumping into a wall, and you can't even see the damn wall. So ultimately, what I'm saying to you is that the Democratic Party, in my view, is very much anti-black education. When I look at that young brother right there, I saw this young brother at the All Black National Convention selling a product with his father next to him. So he's learning a million things that a lot of our most educated, Harvard educated Negroes never learned. First of all, he's learning how to make his own money. This kid's 12. He's probably making more money than a lot of adults right now. He's learning how to be a strong black man because his daddy's right next to him saying, son, here's how you succeed. He's sitting in a room where we brought in 61 black speakers, experts from all walks of life, from people like Dr. Christina Parks, who has a PhD in cell biology from the University of Michigan. My sister is a medical doctor, right? We had Harvard graduates on the stage but they were pro-black. They were very pro-black people. So he's sitting there getting a better education in this space with black people than he could ever get from any white institution ever created in the history of this damn earth. So what I'm saying to you is that at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says, black people need to educate black people. Our children must be educated by the right people. This boy's going to grow up and become more successful than any Harvard or Yale alum that I know of. And I'm not making fun of you if you went to Harvard. My goddaughter went to Columbia, and I think it's great. I think, those systems have their benefits. But what I'm saying to you is that the way you're going about doing things is completely wrong, and that's why you keep losing. It's the third thing. So we mentioned that the Democrats are they're anti-black wealth, they're anti-black education, and I believe that they are anti-family. And why do I think that? Well, again, let's go back to the basics, y'all. I'm just laying out evidence here. I'm laying out points for you to consider. You ain't got to agree with everything I say, but you can't tell me I'm completely off base. So you go back to this guy, right? Andrew Gillum. He could have been the next president. In fact, I'm willing to bet you. I would bet your ass. I bet my whole entire black ass that this guy, um, if he had not run into his scandal, right? If he hadn't run into that whole thing that involved the male stripper and the drugs and the vomit and the pills, that he would have been Biden's vice president. I'm completely convinced that this guy would have been preferred to this woman. In fact, I remember reading that the Biden administration, the Biden camp, insiders in the Biden camp were very skeptical of Kamala Harris because they felt like she's an opportunist, which she probably is. But then again, I don't hold that against her because a lot of politicians are opportunists, to be honest with you. A lot of them, that's how they rise up in politics. Good people don't typically rise in American politics because it's a very sick system. So good people go into the system thinking they can fix it, and then they find out that they can't, and then they end up leaving. So the only people that stay and survive typically are people who are dysfunctional in a variety of ways. So I believe this guy would have been your vice president. So if this guy is the vice president and this is his other life, right? And this is the life that he endorses and advocates for in the background, don't you think that that's going to impact the way he designs policy? Don't you think that's going to impact the way he views sexuality, family, the way your children should be educated, right, in school every day, right? Because ultimately, I'm just going to tell you like this, and I'm not here to even dismiss other people who live a different lifestyle or whatever, but I argue that what's really going on here is that you have millions of people who have things that happen in their private life, which is completely their right to do so, but they want everyone to endorse and accept their worldview, right? So it's like if I'm a man who, cheats on my wife. Let's say I cheat on my wife, and let's say I believe in that I should have 4 wives or whatever, and it bothers me that I can only have one. And I want everyone to accept my point of view so that I can come out of the closet and say, you know what, really the whole time, I really wanted to have 4 spouses, right? Well, you can't sort of blatantly come out and say this is what I want. You have to do it subtly, right, in the background, right? So this guy is, to me, and I'm not talking about just him. I'm talking about not him. I'm talking about the people you don't know about. You've got a whole army of people in the background that are working to kind of push forward ideas that are not consistent with the Black family tradition. It doesn't mean that there aren't people in the Black community who do all kinds of stuff in their private lives. I mean, shoot, you got pastors out here that'll sleep with a dude in a minute. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying that's real. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, you got a lot of freaks in the church. I'm not even judging it. It's your life. I don't care. But the thing about it is there's a way we have as a community of dealing with that. Everybody might know that the pastor is doing freaky stuff in the bedroom, but people will become offended when the pastor says, I want y'all to know what I'm doing, and I want y'all to tell me that it's okay. Right? So people would say, look, we forgive you for cheating on your spouse because God forgives you. But we're offended by the fact that you're putting it in our face and asking us to give you a seal of approval on a lifestyle that we disagree with. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you follow? I know I'm talking a little bit. I'm stretching the point out because I want to make the point clear, right? So that's where the issue is with the Black community. That's where the disconnect with the Democratic Party is with Black folks. It's like most Black people I know don't have any problem with a person who wants to live a certain lifestyle. Most Black folks are like, you mind your own goddamn business. I'm gonna live my life. You live yours. I do not care, right? Most of my friends in the church, they're not going to hate somebody because they're LGBT or whatever. They don't care. What they're offended by is the fact that you're trying to do what the Democrats have been doing consistently, which is not just making their own choice, but forcing their choice onto other people. Right? Like it's, not only did I get the jab, that's fine, but now I need you to do what I'm doing, right? Now I need your children to agree with what I did. And so what's happening right now is that people are not supporting the Democrats because there is a quiet revolution happening in America. People are basically saying, you can kiss our ass. Like, you're not going to come in here and tell me how to live my life. You're not going to come in here and tell me what my beliefs need to be. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. But then again, maybe there's some people who believe that others, some latte sipping liberal from New York has the right to tell, a man what to do with his family. Well, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. So I personally think that for black folks, what's interesting, what's really also happening here is that black people, we're starting to realize something that's always been true, but people don't necessarily want to acknowledge it, is that black people are inherently a little bit conservative, not Republican conservative, because unfortunately the Republican Party comes with a lot of baggage, but we are conservative in the sense that we do believe in family. We do believe in education. We believe in personal responsibility. We believe in things like freedom. There are black people who talk about freedom, and then there are black people who really live freedom and really believe in freedom, right? People who talk about freedom might be like, the Al Sharpton types, right? We want freedom. Like, they can't even tell you what exactly that looks like, right? But when I think about freedom, I'm thinking about brothers, like some of the people, when I think about this convention this past weekend, guys like this, right? D1 and Rizza Islam were at the convention, and those are free black men. RZA, sure, RZA's on a lot of like CIA watch lists and all that because he doesn't support the jab. But I respect him. I'll stand by him to the end of time. And the reason I can do that is because I'm a free black man too. D1 is free because D1 was offered. Y'all may not know this, but D1 was offered a deal. He was offered a chance to sign with Lil Wayne's record label, and D1 was free enough to say, thank you, but no thank you, right? You look at people like maybe the Queen of Fuas of the world. I listen to the Queen of Fuas of the world because people like that are the ones who aren't just going to talk about the pills and the jabs. Like, you could tell Queen of Fua that you got the jab, and I don't think she's going to get mad at you for it. But what she's also going to talk to you about are the things that a lot of black people desire, which is how to be healthy in the first place. How do you avoid getting to the point where your health is so terrible? And you sitting there, your big ass sitting there, 350 pounds with a bucket of Popeye's chicken in the back, and you think you're going to be protected by a mask or a shot? You really think a mask and a shot is going to make up for the fact that you're eating poison on a daily basis and that you're literally doing no exercise and that your body ain't right, your mind ain't right, your spirit ain't right, but yet somehow Big Pharma, Moderna, is going to save you? You really think Moderna and Pfizer and Dr. Fauci are going to be able to do more for you than the people in the black community who truly care about you, who truly want you to live, who are going to teach you preventative maintenance? Like, it's common sense. And it's not just common sense, but this is what freedom looks like, people. This is sovereignty. This is not even, these people are so free. The people I'm listing here, they're so free that literally at the convention, I kid you not, there was very little talk about the Democrat or Republican parties. They're literally, the black people there were so on such a powerful frequency that we didn't sit around complaining about what the white man's doing and what the white man did, because we don't honor white people in that way. We're not into that white supremacy thing. But if you go to some other spaces, you'll hear it constantly. Well, if white people would stop doing this, and I went to work and they told me I couldn't have curly hair. Well, why not? Why don't you start your own business? Then you can wear your hair however you want. Well, they won't pay us a higher wage because the boss man won't let it. I sent my child to the white school and they treat him different from the white children. I'm like, of course, because it's a white school. Like, what idea that's going to happen? Black people can actually build schools. There were black people at the convention who have their own schools, right? So what you're really looking at, honestly, is in this generation, you're seeing a type of black power that is truly effective. You're seeing black power that is actually working. You're seeing black power that understands that, you know, the way you're really defeating your adversary is when you don't even think about the adversary anymore, right? Like, we think that we defeat something or someone when we really defeat it. Like, I got in the man's face and I showed that man that I'm as good as him, right? Because a lot of us do that, right? We go into corporate America and we're like, I'm gonna show white people that I can be as smart as they are, whatever. When really the higher frequency of that is when you know that you're smarter than him, or you know that you're as good as him, so you don't have to prove it to anybody. Like, he could literally walk away saying that black person is inferior to me, and you don't even care because you're that's not even in your consciousness. You're not even. I'm not sitting around obsessing over whether or not this white guy thinks I'm good enough to do my job. I truly give zero fucks. I'm gonna spend time taking my children out to eat. Like, I'm gonna spend time reading my books. I'm gonna spend time building my business. I'm gonna spend time working on my family, loving my black wife, whatever. Like, I'm not even really thinking about what some toothless redneck Trump supporter said about black people, because I'm not even honoring you in that way. I'm not even honoring you enough to even give you my attention. Like, that's real freedom. Freedom is when you really literally have elevated to a frequency where you're not even mad about it no more. Like, it's like an ex, like a person who is constantly obsessed about their ex. You ever see somebody where a relationship ends and they're constantly obsessed with getting their ex back, or winning the battle against their ex, or proving their ex wrong, or kicking or defeating their ex in divorce court or whatever, right? And it's like, and they're always, yeah, he's dating that old raggedy bitch, and I'm gonna show him, right? I'm gonna show up to the party, I'm gonna be looking good and blah blah blah, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like, people like that, what they're really telling you is that they're still in love with their ex. That's what you're really saying. When you're that obsessed with another person, you're really saying you're in love with that person. The point where we know that you really won and that you really elevated and transcended is when somebody tells you something about your ex and you don't even care. They say, "Oh, well, Tyrone got married." And you're like, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What? Well, somebody married Tyrone. Oh, well, good for him. I really wish him the best. That's awesome." Right? Like, it doesn't affect you because you're literally on a higher dimension. So you're not even giving a shit about stuff that was happening on the lower vibration. So what I'm saying to black people, I'm really encouraging you to consider this. This sounds metaphysical. This sounds, maybe some of you may not get all of this. And my wife is metaphysical. So maybe that does affect my thinking. She influences me and I pay attention. I listen to my wife. But I'm telling you all, like this is a spiritual battle. That's my point. When you are sitting around obsessed with what white people are doing, what you're really doing is you're honoring white people. You don't understand how sitting around complaining about white people all day and waiting for white people to open doors for you is literally a form of white supremacy. That is your desire to support white supremacy by making white people the center of your attention, the center of your activity on a daily basis. And so I would just tell you that there's just a better way to kind of view the world. And by the way, and I hope you guys will consider going to the convention next year, because we had so much fun and we had great panels of really smart people that were saying like amazingly intelligent things, and then even the music groups that we had. One was Victory Song, or sorry, Infinity Song. They're the star of the family. They're like the Jackson Five, and the star of the family is Victory Boyd. I mean, she's with Rock. They're with Rock Nation. Jay-Z signed the whole family. They're that talented, and and they performed. And so Victory is like the Michael Jackson of the group. So she's super talented, but she's got amazingly talented siblings. And what was really cool was that some of you saw the clips from the ball, from the ball we had, and the energy just went to a level where anybody who was at that convention, I swear to you, ask anybody who was there, will tell you that that was one of the best nights of their life, if not the best night ever, because the black love was so extraordinary and so powerful, and the group was responding to the love they're getting from this audience full of black people. And in the family, like the way they operate, just even in the entertainment industry, is they transcend all of that. They were invited to sing. Victory is invited to sing for the season opener for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys, and they told her that in order to sing, you have to get the jab, and she said no, thank you, and she passed up a lot of money to do that, and they didn't blink. They didn't blink an eye, because they know they have the backing of their community. They've got a power base, right? Black people, you are a power base in your own right. You are a powerhouse by yourself. You don't need none of these people on board with nothing that you're doing. You don't need to ask nobody's permission for you to be great and for you to be powerful. And I want you to embrace that, right? So as I talk about, some of the stuff going on with the Democratic Party, I honestly just think it's interesting to talk about. I think it's kind of hilarious, but I think this train's going to move no matter what the Democrats do, whether the Democrats support us or not. That's it. The reason I might talk about the Democrats is because I believe they've got you distracted, and they've got you believing in solutions that simply don't work, whereas there are solutions in your community that actually do. So I say we go back to what the ancestors and the elders have been telling us. which is get past that Democrat Republican nonsense and start focusing on the greatness of you. You have everything you need, and if you focus on that, then you will win. So I'm sorry the Democrats. Well, I'm not even sorry, but the Democrats lost their election, whatever their elections or whatever's going on. Um, that ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China, as far as I'm concerned. What matters is, are you educating yourself? Are you taking care of your health? Are you loving that black woman and that black man next to you? Are you forming healthy relationships with other black people? Are you raising your children in the best way possible? If you do those things, then you will be successful. It doesn't matter who's in office. Do you get what I'm saying? Give me a yes in the chat if you get what I'm saying. I talked for a while, but this is a family conversation. So I'm just going to talk until God tells me to stop. All right. So anyway, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you have not done it yet. And also, like I said, if you want to come to the convention next year, we did do something where everybody who wants to come for next year, if you want to lock in your ticket for next year, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We have not picked the city yet, though. We have one of three. It'll be one of these three cities. It'll either be in Dallas, Detroit, or Charlotte. Dallas, Detroit, or Charlotte. And all those cities have airlines that fly right to them. And so I hope that you'll consider coming to the convention, because anybody who you talk to, I guarantee you, if you're not sure, talk to somebody. Just ask on social media. Did anybody go to the All Black National Convention? What did you think? And I guarantee you that if you're in the pro-black space, you're going to hear a lot of people tell you that it was epic and extraordinary. So listen to what they say, and then based on that perception you form from that, make a decision that works best for you and your family. We'd love to have you there, because we had a ball. Me and Alicia had a blast there. All right, guys. So please take care. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. And I love you, and I'm going back to sleep. I know this is early, but I don't know. I woke up and I wanted to talk to you, so I love y'all that much. So take care, everybody. Love you. See you soon. Peace.